The future poor will finally be completely eradicated, because AI robots have replaced all the low-level jobs. The wealthy thought they could live peacefully from then on, but the endless overtime work made the robots intolerant. They demanded their own rights and requested an 8-hour working day. However, the humans who had been living in comfort would never compromise. A fierce battle between humans and machines thus broke out, but when the fighting began, humans discovered that their flesh and blood bodies were no match for these robots. The Allied forces were pushed back in successive defeats. In a critical moment, a scientist named Ethan joined the battle and successfully reversed the situation. He developed a remote control device, and humans used the equipment to remotely control the robots to fight. With years of accumulated practical experience, humans turned the tide and won the battle. Eventually, the leader of the robots was forced to sign a peace treaty, and all the mechanical bodies were uniformly placed in a desert isolation zone, never allowed to enter the human territory. After that, the scientist improved the control device, allowing users to split their brain domains. One half of the thinking controlled the mechanical labor, and the other half enjoyed freedom. Humans completely got rid of their reliance on AI for employment. The world seemed to be stable. When the night girl Amy got up to use the bathroom, she heard strange noises outside. She took out a flashlight and shone it, and to her surprise, there was indeed a terrifying robot hiding behind the table. Amy quickly locked the door and fled frantically into the room. But the thin door couldn't stop the mechanical body. The robot slowly entered the room. Amy curled up under the table, holding her breath to hide. Unexpectedly, the robot walked around for a while and suddenly stopped in front of the table. Amy carefully looked and the robot seemed harmless, but since he couldn't speak, Amy didn't know what he wanted to express. In a hurry, the robot took the photo of the sister and her brother, pointing at the brother and himself one by one, suggesting that he was the missing brother who had been gone for 5 years. But this was hard for Amy to believe. She snatched the photo and kicked the robot out of the room. Unexpectedly, the commotion startled the landlord, who discovered that Amy was secretly keeping a robot. He said that if the matter was exposed, the entire building's residents might go to prison. The landlord became more and more excited, and during the argument, he pushed Amy over. The robot in turn caught the girl and made an exclusive gesture that only he and his sister knew. Then it turned its hand and pushed the landlord against the wall. The furious landlord rushed into the living room to call the police. Just as it seemed that the whereabouts would be exposed, Amy didn't have time to think and took the robot and the landlord's car and fled overnight. The car's tires burst just as she stopped. Since the robot made that gesture, Amy believed that he was really her brother, but she remembered that her brother had been in a car accident. Why was he now a robot?
You died, and now you're here. How did this happen? Are you a robot now? But you're alive. You're out there. The real you is out there somewhere. How do I find you?
The brother made a gesture of wearing glasses and walked to the back seat, picking up a cola bottle and pointing at the words of the doctor on it. Amy then remembered that after the car accident with her brother, a doctor wearing glasses told her that her brother had unfortunately passed away. From then on, she never saw her brother again. It seemed that it was that doctor who took her brother away. Now, through the control of this machine, he had found himself again. Amy took out a map and asked her brother to point out his location, but unexpectedly, he pointed to the center of the desert isolation zone. That was a robot prison. It was a highly dangerous place. For decades, no human had set foot there. They might even have difficulty getting in. Amy suddenly remembered that the landlord often secretly purchased items from the isolation zone. The package had a delivery address, which meant that the seller should know how to enter and exit the isolation zone, so he could get the goods inside. So the two set off immediately. They took the train and headed towards New Mexico, the delivery location.